Do you think that the reason why so many millennials are into podcasting is because they get to use Audacity and they're brainwashed by the Obama book?
The Audacity.
They're like, oh man, I'm just like Obama when I do this podcast. We podcasted some folks. There we go. Is that good? Is that a good one? Yeah. All right.
He walked out in the gray light and stood, and he saw for a brief moment the absolute truth of the world. The cold, relentless circling of the intestate earth. Darkness implacable. The blind dogs of the sun in their running. The crushing black vacuum of the universe. And somewhere 200 animals trembling like ground foxes in their cover. Borrowed time and borrowed world and borrowed eyes with which to sorrow it.
And lo, for the earth was empty of form, and void, and darkness was all over the face of the deep, and we said, look at that fucker dance.
All right, let's go. Welcome to Heat Death of the Universe, a podcast that is planning and preparing to be continuing in an ongoing way to work and cooperate with its allies in the regions and the places, at the times and on the dates, not only on the clocks, but also on the calendars, and will continue in an ongoing way and style to urge in a firm yet flaccid tone that many, or perhaps most, opportunity option choices, though not all can be included, remain and stay on the table, which we envision together as a community in our mind brains, our soul hearts, and continue to urge and work to make clear with our empathy words. Hashtag Brat Autumn. It is 9:19 a.m. in the morning, Monday, October 28th, Korea Standard Time, year of our Lord 2024. Joshua, name change here, and over there is Tim, Mr. All-Knowing Buckner. What's up, Tim? How's the omniscience treating you these days?
It is going well. It is going well. Got that nickname from a nice fellow on the internet that was arguing with me about if something was racist or not. And luckily, by the end, they realized the error of their ways as they deemed me Mr. All-Knowing and apologized for being incorrect. I am doing good. It's always a pleasure to be on the only podcast who says Arnold Palmer more like Arnold Two-Hander. Am I right? How are you doing this evening, Josh?
I'm doing good. That's good. You could also, I'm not going to say punch it up because that's
Sure.
Two-Hander's great, but I was, my immediate second take would have been Arnold Stranger.
Oh, that's pretty good. Pretty good.
Sit on that hand first.
Yes. But see, mine is directly about Trump saying that he had a big, unruly penis. So
Right.
But I get where you're coming from too.
I just love any chance I get to reference the Stranger, the move that I sometimes I wonder if that's like more urban legend. I mean, I'm sure people have done it. But
yeah.
I remember like hearing about that as a kid or whatever, being like always thinking that it sounded stupid.
Sure. Well, I mean, that's what that documentary Stranger Things is about. It's about going to the dark place, or what do they call it? The other side. It's the place where your hand always feels like it's asleep when you masturbate. That's the other side. Yeah. So yeah, no. I mean, here's the thing, like to say urban legend or whatever, it's like the Dirty Sanchez or whatever. It's like, it's a joke, but that doesn't mean it's not true. You know what I mean? Dirty Sanchez is a weird comparison, but it's like someone has done it, especially like as a bit. Someone could and would easily do the stranger thing, but probably the first person who said it was saying it as a joke, but that doesn't mean that it's not true, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I can actually, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm thinking about teenage boys masturbating.
Sure, of course.
I'm imagining more than anyone would probably like to admit have probably sat on their own hand to numb it out.
I never did, but...
I never did either.
I was, from the beginning, I was pretty proficient at masturbating. I didn't need any tips or tricks. I could pretty much, I'm not even, I like to say I'm a dry man, at my heart. I never even really was big on like needing to use any lube or anything like that. Just, I could get the job done. Like I said, didn't need any help. So.
That's talent. That's pure natural talent.
I was going to say, I'm like perfect record batting 1,000, but I'm like, that's actually probably not 100% true. Some of those long nights on meth, you give up before you can finish, Anyways.
We all know this.
We've all been there.
Well, speaking of dryly jacking off,
Kamala Harris. Yes. We're 100% on the same page there. Oh.
Kamala Harris did a town hall. And it was, from what I can tell, I didn't watch the whole thing. I barely watched any of it. I saw clips, but whatever. Sure. I still feel authorized to comment on it.
Yeah, because you're a man and she's a woman. And it's my place. Right. It's my job to put her in her place.
As Trump's campaign rally music lately has been telling us, it's a man's world.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was actually playing that song until like yesterday when I read about that.
Speaking of a guy who knew a thing or two about smoking crack,
yeah. Oh man, just hot tip for listeners: if you've never seen the James Brown going on the local news to promote like his upcoming concert when he's like clearly out of his mind on some form of cocaine and alcohol, and just basically like brushing off his like whatever domestic abuse charges he was dealing with at the time. I forget. You've seen that clip, right? That's like pretty famous one.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's Anyway, it's pretty great.
From Atlanta to discuss the charges, and we welcome you, James Brown. How did all of this trouble begin?
Living in America.
And what are you going to say to your fans when they ask you some questions about it?
I'm going to say I feel good. Papa's got a brand new bag. It's a man's world. Sex machine, get up off of that thing. I feel good. Jam.
There you are. Oh, is there something more you want to say that we haven't covered?
Yeah, I want to say another thing.
Okay, go ahead.
I love America. I love everybody.
Well,
I feel good.
It sounds to me as though you're not troubled by any of this at all.
This is a man's world.
One of the best.
So there you are.
But yeah, speaking of unhinged meltdowns on television.
Yeah. Speaking of spouse abuse, Kamala Harris.
Poor Doug. In CNN Town Hall, Harris refused. I think this kind of sums up the whole thing pretty well, just this headline. In CNN Town Hall, Harris refuses to place conditions on Israeli military support, pledges to work with Republicans on border wall. Can you imagine seeing this kind of headline, like take out the Israel part, but just like the pledging to work with the Republicans on border wall in like the last presidential election,
right?
Or like in 2016. It's topsy-turvy place, this Americaville that we live in.
Was this the same one, or was this this different town hall where?
I think she's only done the one.
Okay,
maybe not. I don't know.
So that was the alternative. I know you had your punch up, your alternative joke option for the Arnold Palmer, but I was gonna say the only podcast that doesn't care about the price of groceries if we could just stop a genocide. I'll pay a little bit. I'll pay a little bit more at the pump if we can stop murdering. Pay for us to stop murdering babies. That's okay, Kamala. Jesus Christ, that was a good one.
This was the town hall where
Yeah.
she said that shit.
That's pretty good.
That was probably the clip that I think
Made the
I
rounds.
saw the most.
Yeah.
But that was like making the rounds, amongst the leftists.
Right. And it was
go ahead. I don't think liberals were sharing that.
Right. That was such a weird one because the only take I saw from people was just like, oh, look at this wacky, isn't this such a ridiculous and wacky pivot that she's doing? Oh, it's so, and I'm just like, again, like I said, my gut instinct was like just to reject it outright. I'm like, no, actually, no, that's not true. There isn't a ton of people that are seeing it that way. That are seeing like, oh yeah, like I would love for us to end the fucking conflict in the Middle East, but I mean the price of fucking food is so high. On top of the fact that like it's obviously the opposite. If we weren't wasting fucking money on bombs, maybe we could like subsidize the price of fucking groceries, or at least people could be getting paid a little bit better. Jesus Christ.
Right. It was just like, what's really sad is that for her, it was like almost. It's all a relative scale, but for Kamala,
yeah,
it was almost a kind of a savvy deflection for her.
Sure. Well,
like,
and
like she didn't completely like malfunction and start like sparks and start shooting out of her fucking eyes or whatever. Like,
sure.
But it was obviously a canned line too, of course. But like, I was like, good for you. Good for you, girl. Like
you go, girl.
You got your canned line out sort of smoothly, even though it's like disgusting, and now it's just going to be like an infamous clip about like trying to say that all these people who are very loudly telling you, building a whole movement around it in swing states, that they have a red line and it's continuing funding of mass murder campaign, another word for genocide.
Sure.
Well, but I also hear that they care about their grocery bills. It's like, yeah, sure, they also care about that, but that doesn't mean that it's more. That this is not your like hierarchy of needs, that your fictional hierarchy of needs here is fucking absurd, lady. And like the thing is like a lot of people cut off the clip at the groceries line, and then like she did, I bet some libs have probably pointed this out, like, she didn't just say groceries.
Yeah, she
goes
also
on to
listed
list
more bullshit.
She listed other things and like, topped it all off with like, and the right for a woman to choose what she does with her body, and like expecting like a big like, up like roaring applause and standing ovation. But it was just kind of like crickets. Like people at those town halls are kind of like not having what she was selling. I noticed at least in the ones that were like, seemed less scripted.
Mm-hmm. Listen. Pennsylvania undecided voters ain't be having no Kamala. No, but like, here's the thing, and you talked about it, like she got the line off, good for her, and there was more diatribe to it that obviously was a bunch of dreck and bullshit, and like, oh, give her credit, whatever. But to me, I mean, I guess the closest thing to really saying like the bright side, if you have to put lipstick on a pig, and I do mean that in a sexist as possible way, I mean, I'm referring to Kamala Harris as a pig because she's gross. Is that, but also probably Kamala, she probably doesn't eat pork because of being like a, black Muslim, whatever, part of the NOI. Anyway, so I probably shouldn't call her that because of that, obviously. But, no, my real point is that like the real like closest thing to like a positive that I could take away from it is that she felt the need to pivot and deflect from funding Israel. Because up until this point, ever since the convention, she's been pretty pro and just open, like there is no limit. I will continue to support Biden's agenda on Israel. I will continue to give them money the entire way. And again, I'm not even saying this. I'm being like somewhat facetious, but at least it like shows that she's not so fucking tone deaf that she thinks that she can just continue to talk that way openly in public, and that there really is a need to pivot away from saying that shit out loud, even if I know that that doesn't mean she's going to change her policy. At least it shows that she fucking recognizes that it's a dog and it's a loser, and that politically saying that you are going to back Israel to the last, as they say, like to the last fucking, like, Gazan. I'm going to support Israel until like the last Gazan or whatever, like, or Palestinian. At least she knows she can't be saying that shit out loud,
I mean, I'd like to agree, but like, in that moment, that small little slice of time, yes. But like, I guess I don't have anything specific like pulled up or anything, but I guarantee she's said those other canned lines like right after this town hall. Like, we will always stand firm with Israel no matter what.
Yeah.
There, our arms embargo is, not even a consideration, etc. Like, actually, I think I might have forgot to put it on the old list here, but like that was another thing her team felt necessary to remind like the AIPAC donor set that like, I think I brought this up on the previous episode actually, but like it was this little statement from her team that was like, we really want to make sure you understand that Kamala has shown more empathy than Joe Biden. They didn't put it in those exact words, but they did use the empathy. They're like, she has shown empathy for Palestine, but that doesn't mean that she will waver in funding Israel for all time, Like, don't worry, guys. It's like, why would they worry? She's given no indication at all that anything is going to change on that front. And the opposite, like she keeps saying, and her team keeps saying for her, we're going to stay the course. We're going to keep doing what Joe Biden has been doing. Don't worry about it.
Sure.
Another thing from this town hall was, like the headline said about the fucking border wall, which again to me is like one of the most absurd things ever. Like the entire issue of immigration, the way that it's been handled since Biden took office, basically, because that was that issue that was supposed to separate, that was supposed to be the lesser of two evils issue. That was the issue at the time. And like now, who could even remember? Walls are cool, actually. Now walls are brat. We like walls.
Like I said, she loves walls so much she made it her VP.
Loves those back walls or something.
Well, that's the real the real wedge issue is women's right to get their back walls blown out with no consequence. So we don't need to worry about the border wall anymore.
So someone asked her. I'm gonna read a little bit from this article here in the old WSWS TrotskyForever.com.org. In response to fairly easy questions about her future priorities or what she would do differently than her boss, Harris stumbled and bumbled through several scripted answers. She could not provide a single concrete example of what she would do differently than the current administration. However, she repeatedly promised to work, quote, across the aisle with the same Republicans that, in her words, nominated a fascist as their nominee. It's interesting how that works. Harris said she would work to, quote, get past the era of partisan politics, to work across the aisle, and offered a commitment to work with Republicans, including on immigration. Harris said, I pledge to you that I will work across the aisle to fix this long-standing problem. I think the American people are demanding it on both sides of the aisle, and it's time we put the partisan approach to this aside. Anderson Cooper, who is like moderating this thing, pointed out that Harris's support for the $20 billion stalled border bill, including $650 million to build Trump's anti-human border wall, which Harris previously characterized as stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Questioned by Cooper if the wall was still stupid, Harris, while cackling, replied, well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall. Parentheses, giggles. So remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on, they didn't. How much of that wall did he build? I think the last number that I saw was about 2%. And then when it came time for him to do a photo op, you know where he did it? In the part of the wall that President Obama built.
Oh my fucking God.
who is she talking to here? What the fuck is this? This is like the type of shit that makes me feel like I'm in fucking Cuckoo Bananasville. Like, it's just like totally upside down. It's the upside down, to go back to stranger jack off things.
No. It's like, it's incredible because it is like for everything. Like you said, why would you point out the fact that Obama fucking built the wall? Like, Obama.
No one even remembers that. Even I forgot that. And I like remember all this fucking like, you know, whatever, like little political bullshit.
Yeah, to be like
she reminded me about that.
That wall bullshit is stupid. If we don't waste our time on no wall bullshit. But also, Mexico didn't pay for it, and he only built a little bit of it. And the stuff that he took a picture with, well, yeah, we built that. What the fuck? What the fuck?
And all she could have done to make it worse is to add on how Biden probably actually, I mean, I don't know if she actually built more, like as a percentage wise, but it continued to be built for the last 3.5 years.
The only way that she could have made it worse, I get what you're saying there, but if she had been like, and then the kids in cages, everyone talked about Trump putting kids in cages. Trump put kids in cages. Oh my God. But me and Joe, we put twice as many kids in cages than Trump did. That's the only way she could make it worse.
And our cages were smaller, which meant we saved money to pay to bring down the deficit, y'all.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. I love the Mexico didn't pay for that wall, and he only built a little bit of it. It's like, okay, so wait, so they didn't pay for the little, I mean, he didn't build the wall, so that's why they didn't pay for it? Like, I'm very confused.
She's just trying to be like, isn't Trump stupid that when he said we're gonna make Mexico build it? It's like when he said that, like I don't even think Trump believed that.
No,
like that was obviously just like rhetoric to rile people up and whatever.
Right. Well, it's the same thing as when he says tariffs, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the same. It's like most of what Trump talks about is just hot air bullshit to rile up everybody in different ways. But like her whole point is just like, what a dumbass. He really thought Mexico would pay for the wall that keeps Mexicans out of this country. Like, yeah, it's it's a weird thing. And Anderson Cooper continued, but are you pledging to bring forward a bill that will continue that wall? Haven't they already done that anyway? But anyway,
yeah. She's already saying she's just going to do it.
She said, I pledge that I'm going to bring forward that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure our border. Yes, I am. And yes, I'm going to work across the aisle to pass comprehensive. So she can't just say yes. She has to yes, but let me use the word aisle and bipartisan about 20 more times in a sentence for no reason.
Right.
To signal that I'm, it's just, who the real fucking sickos are in America? The people who get off on this kind of talk. The liberals who love this idea of like, isn't it so, like they swoon when they see Liz Cheney and Kamala Harris like coming out on stage together and whatever. Like isn't it so... You know what it is? It's like the equivalent of like when people like watch like these cute videos where it's like a baby duck and a cat are friends. It's like a chimpanzee and and a shark are playing together.
That's basically it. It's animal friends. It's like that's why people love it. Like the people who just sit at home and get their dick just on turbo hard. For like the idea of bipartisanship, like that is like the one thing that just really gets them torqued up. It's fucking crazy.
They're just like reach across the aisle.
Yeah.
Hang on, I can feel my hand again. Give me a second.
Yeah, right. Incredible.
Just to cap it off here, her evasive but like obviously agreeing answer about like, yes, of course we got to continue building this fucking wall. I think I sort of like predicted in a like half joking way a long time ago that like eventually we were gonna get like crowds of libs chanting, "Build that wall."
I can't wait.
That's the only step like left that has been reached yet with this shit.
Right.
I mean, I guess I don't think there's like at least like Twitter libs aren't like, they're not excitedly posting like Kamala's gonna build the wall, but like they're just ignoring it, or they're like defending it in some way of like, well, she's just being a really savvy negotiator. Like, you have to be pragmatic. You have to work with, the other side, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's so much more than that. This isn't just conceding to Republicans strategically. This is like bragging about how Trump built the wall in a shitty way.
Right.
We're going to get the job done in a better way.
Right. This is that.
It's like, weren't we fundamentally opposed for humanitarian reasons to this wall and to kids in cages? Like, what happened to that?
Right. Yeah. It's the thing. I've heard this said in a few different places here and there, but it's like, yeah, when you do the like kind of meet you in the middle, halfway, treat both sides as like equally like deserving of respect for their opinions or whatever, between like someone who's, telling the truth and someone who's like, lying or whatever. And like in this case, it's like, yeah, it's like if you're debating and treating them seriously on the other side, and the other side's stance is like, we need to kill all immigrants. And you're like, okay, well, we got to hear them out, so let's meet them in the middle and we'll just kill half of the immigrants.
Right.
Like, no, you need to have the fucking moral conviction to take the stance of like none. And that's it. We're not going to fucking give in any. We can't like, you don't say, yeah, oh, you know what? Well, they're saying kill all of them, so let's meet them in the middle and go, let's just kill half of all of immigrant. Like, what the fuck? What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Again, this is... You mentioned like Twitter libs and libs in general and stuff, and I did want to ask about this, like the etymology of the whole shit lib thing, because I hear people say it, right? And a lot of times, like, it comes from like, you say it, and like leftist people say it. I kind of like got used to like Jimmy Dore saying it pre and then post his right wing turn. So it's like kind of crazy that I saw people on Twitter, and I've always thought of it as like an inter-left term, where like people who are further left refer to liberals as shit libs or whatever. I don't even really 100% know what it's meant to denote about libs, that like any different than just a regular liberal or whatever. But I was on Twitter and I was seeing people, as I was arguing with people about if it's, okay to refer to Japanese people to say I need to learn Chinese, if that's racist or not. That I saw people that were just hardcore right-wing MAGA racists referring to shit libs. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Why are you using that language? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, that just sounds like, I don't know, like this sort of, the viral way that like language just gets picked up, like unconsciously or something.
Right. But it's like they're just using the term to just mean liberals, right? That's all they mean.
I always took it to mean, I guess maybe the more specific term would be like resistance libs. Sure. I don't know.
Yeah. I kind of got that, like Obama libs, Hillary libs, like those back to brunch types,
Yeah.
Pussy hat. So.
I mean, really, it kind of becomes just like all liberals,
right?
But like maybe like the ones that are especially vocal and like aggressive about like vote shaming people and whatever, and like pretending like they're stopping the rise of the Fourth Reich by making fun of Donnie's little hands or whatever.
Right.
You know the types.
It's like the liberal version of the dirtbag left or something, I guess. It's like the pussy hat, right? It's like I'm being naughty.
It's the pussy hat crowd. That's what I think of it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That makes sense. One thing real quick on that, because I brought it up, I should mention it. Like, that was I talked about it, like, just how fucking cucked the right wing is, that they've just, like, accepted, like, the bullshit. And mind you, the fight that I got into on the internet this week about this was with, like, wrestling Twitter people. They were not prepared to, like, have a conversation with me about racism and, like, discussing, like, the like, just, like, the basic nature of it, and, like, the idea that, like, everyone is intrinsically racist, blah, 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 whatever. But, like, the thing that got me was how many of these right-wing people, that their argument was, like, this is not racist because it's not offensive and this and that, were then doing the ID poll thing and being like, listen, Asian people don't find it offensive. The people that he said it about were Asian, and they didn't think it was offensive. And one person who kept telling me, well, I'm Asian. And so I told him, I was like, you're using ID poll to try to make your opinion into facts. I was like, you are a fucking libtard. And the guy's like, I don't know what any of that means. It's like, dude, you have become a fucking libtard. You're right wing, but you've completely accepted this like identitarian bullshit where it's like, oh, because you're Asian, your opinion means more than mine because I'm white. Like it was just fucking crazy to see, but it's just another one of these examples where it's like, oh my God, you people on the right can't even realize that like you've let fucking cucked left-wing bullshit, like Robin DiAngelo bullshit fucking infect your way of thinking to where you just are you're completely cucked. It's so funny that these are like the Ubermensch, normie racist guys are just like fully cooked and into like fucking race to dinner bullshit.
That is a pretty funny way to make that loop back into ID poll. Just to cap this article off, it ends with a somewhat taken aback Anderson Cooper replied, "So you don't think it's stupid anymore?" Building the wall.
Damn, he got her ass.
Harris complained that Trump did not really build the border wall and that she would be more effective. I think that what he did and how he did it did not make much sense because he didn't do actually much of anything. And the final sign off from this is the article speaking. Both the Democrats and Republicans represent I love how every single World Socialist website article basically ends on this kind of note where they're just like, and this is why we have to destroy capitalism.
Yes.
Both the Democrats and Republicans represent the ruling class and their shared class interests. They have tactical differences over how to prosecute the wars and enrich their donors
and murder
but at the
homeless
end of
people.
At the end of the day, both parties are the enemies of the workers around the world. Yeah. Join the Socialist Equality Party. No thanks. I like PSL better because I'm not a trot.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's okay. That's fine. It's not like, in a foxhole or whatever, like but it is still like, yeah, at least they're kind of close to the right side. Again, I'm more just like squabble, as you said, with like being a Trotskyist or whatever than anything else.
Yeah, and the thing is like nothing in most of the new, like, I read like their basic kind of like news articles like this one, and there's nothing in it Trotskyist about what I just read. It's just kind of, it comes from a socialism writ large perspective. But anyway,
we'll deal with that stuff when we get there, right? We'll deal with the details when we get there. Yeah.
So that was the old town hall.
That was if Kamala, like, again, like you said, like it was there. If Kamala had like 15% more swag, we would literally, the way that she closed that out would have ended with a room full of fucking Democrats chanting "Build the wall." You know what I mean? Like that was the way she presented it.
Yeah.
Like at the end of it, it really came across that way. It's just nobody fucking cared. No one cares because it's Kamala. Like they're not gonna get into what she's saying.
People still have enough of like a residual memory of MAGA freaks chanting "Build that wall" or "Build the wall," whatever.
Right.
That they won't go that far. But I bet you by like next election cycle,
right,
it'll be far enough away from it where there's like, we're gonna own this thing. We're gonna reappropriate it for our purposes. It's the same purpose. You just in a different political party.
They want to keep him out
color
because of racism, and we want to keep him out for workers' rights. We're doing it like Bernie, and he's doing it like like Trump.
I mean, that's the other obvious absurdity. I mean, about the wall in general is like none of these parties actually want to keep out fucking illegal immigrants.
Right.
Like, I shouldn't even need to say that on a podcast like this, but
sure.
I guess I said it. So there. I got a quick. I just found this kind of funny. Lindsey Graham's always kind of funny to me because he's Lindsey Graham, old lady G, and I'll share this with you real quick. He went on one of the Sunday morning talk shows, Meet the Press or something, whatever. Yes, Meet the Press. And they're just basically asking him about election shit. And he went off on this particular tear, though, about like everything that the Democrats are how they're destroying our country and how we can't handle another 4 years of it. And I just wanted to play this clip and see if we have any reactions.
We can also
to
laugh
it,
at laugh at him because he's funny with his little jolly face.
Don't misgender Lady G.
That's true. I'm sorry.
So here's Lindsey Graham talking about Israel. Yeah.
It was Loomer, right? Loomer that was just like, he's a giant faggot right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are basically her words. Yeah, they got into a spat on Twitter or something because
he was like, Trump needs to stay away from her. Yeah.
Yeah. And she said, we all know you're gay, Lindsay. It's okay. It's okay to be gay nowadays. And I was like, is it? Like from where you're standing, is it?
Or,
okay.
I mean, just where, in the eyes of God, the Lord Savior, Jesus Christ.
Laura Loomer sort of actually, now that I think about it, has that energy where I could see like her becoming some like conservative gay icon type.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Thing.
She's like 2 steps away from being just as much of a actual natural woman as Blair White at this point. So what the fuck? She could just fill that role in a second. Anyways, they're both made out of plastic, folks. They're not people. My point is not that Blair White is not a woman. My point is that they're both no longer human beings. Anyways.
F to F. That was a good one.
Yes.
All right, here's Lindsey Graham on Israel. Like him talking about the flooding, like he just can't help but bring up Israel every chance he gets. But here we go.
You know what I fear? I fear 4 more years of Biden-Harris policy. I fear holding Israel back so they can't win the war they have to win to survive. I fear 4 more years of holding Ukraine back, 4 more years of broken borders, 4 more years of not drilling for oil and gas, 4 more years of high food prices. The threat to the world is the policies of this administration. To General Milley, you have a right to your opinion, but I don't fear Donald Trump. I fear what's going on in the world today. If you want the world to stay on fire, vote for her. If you want to keep paying high prices for everything it costs to live, vote for her.
But Senator, you've known General Milley for...
Okay. I mostly just wanted to hear him list off the Democrat shit.
I'm happy that it was the piece of like at least some of that where all he's doing is just going, I think they're wrong. I think they're wrong. I think they're wrong over and over again as she tries to explain anything.
Well, because the interviewer's whole the interviewer's whole angle there was like these former like people who worked with Trump, including this guy John Kelly, and then they were talking about some other.
Was he talking about
former
Kelly? Why did it sound like he was saying Milley? I thought it was like General Milley.
They were talking about General Milley, but like where I just paused it here, she's about to go into the other thing. The October surprise. Oh, I bet it's going to work really well.
The tough part is that it's October 2023 surprise. Like, what the fuck? Why is this coming back? This is a story they already talked about before. It's the same fucking story from last year.
2 years ago.
Is it? Jesus Christ.
It was 2021 that came out in the book about book about like how Trump like refused to accept the election results or whatever.
That was the same book, and I think this got more play at the time. That was the same book that had the detailed story about him saying like that POWs are suckers and losers, right?
Right, yeah. Which
Sucker
I guess and that itself seems like that seems like from like 2017. That seems like even older, that whole right. Controversy.
Yeah, because it did. It came out the first time he was running. That's why I even said like that book just had the full story. That story was already out there. It just like elaborated on it.
I don't like losers. I only like winners, whatever. Yeah.
I know.
People were like hyping up actually, like for like maybe the last week or two, as far as I can tell, like something's gonna come out about Trump. Something big. Is it gonna be Epstein shit? Is it gonna be this? Is it gonna be that? Here's what it turned out to be. Remember this thing that we already knew about from July 2021?
Yeah, right.
Where Donald Trump supposedly, and whatever, he probably did say it. Trump says dumb shit all the time, but it's like, he denies saying it, whatever. He said, I need the kind of generals that Hitler had, meaning really loyal people.
Yeah.
He's not saying, I mean, I'm not defending Trump here. I don't he's a bad guy. He's dangerous, just as dangerous and shitty as Kamala Harris. You know, that's my opinion. But like, he's not a fucking Nazi. He's like almost too stupid and too lacking any conviction, like about like ideology, political ideology, to be a Nazi. Like, Trump will go wherever the fucking wind blows. Like, Trump used to be a fucking standard shit lib, to bring that word back.
Sure.
I mean, except he wasn't even a shit lib because he didn't really care. But like, you know, he was just like your classic like 80s, 90s, like pro-choice, whatever. You know, I'm a Democrat. But then, you know, he went where the fucking money was, you know, whatever, and like it's in like riling people up from the right. But like, if the bigger point about this whole thing is that if this is all they got, I don't know, man. I'm starting to feel like get ready for fucking the Trump presidency, because things are looking kind of bleak in that way.
Sure.
But it's still a fucking coin toss, whatever. But like, just the vibe shift from what I can gather right now is like, I don't know. People are obviously way more driven to vote for Democrats just because of their hatred of Trump. Obviously. Like, no one in their right minds could genuinely be excited about Kamala Harris.
Right, and that's, I mean, I'm with you for the most part. I think the idea that, like, Trump is not pro-Nazi, I think he's into the Nazism stuff just as the same way that fucking, like, Kanye is, and, like, just a dumb guy way. Like, an edgelord dumb guy way, just being like, how bad is it really? You know, it's just like, but he did some good stuff, and the trains ran, because there's so many better examples of loyal military and guards than like the Nazis. If we're being honest, like we have like the Valkyrie story, like there are literal stories of like people within like Trump's higher echelon, like even that fucking, you know, Himmler or Heydrich, whatever, like the fucking the gay leader guy that was like ready to turn on Trump over like that shit. Like, there's tons of stuff in there where, like, Trump's, like, upper echelon people were not super, Hitler's people were not super loyal. So he's saying he wants fucking guards like Hitler or military like Hitler. He doesn't mean that they listen to him, really. You know what I mean?
Well, I think just Trump doesn't know that.
Right.
Trump is not a student of history.
Right.
Yeah, even so that General Kelly, who, like, this is another classic thing of, like, a total fascist right-wing guy becomes like lionized and a hero to resistance shit lib demographic in the way that like Mueller was. Like, this John Kelly guy, I was just like going through his Wikipedia, and it's just like a litany of like every evil thing you can imagine someone doing throughout their entire career. And it's like, but he's a brave truth teller who's telling us that Trump once made this off the cuff remark about Hitler and Nazis. But that guy said he pointed out to Trump that Hitler's generals, you know, actually tried to kill him at some point, or multiple times.
So what it really comes down to, as you said, that like people are not they're not enthusiastic about Kamala. So there's a good chance that Trump can win. I don't think they're enthusiastic about Trump either, though. And it's like, the real thing that this comes down to is, like, people are talking about, the 5% of voters who actually switch who they vote for or whatever. That's like, it's not that. It's not the 5% of people who switch. It's like, it's the 5% of people who are just going to not vote. Like, we are at the point now where pretty much everyone who votes regularly is going to vote for the same people no matter what. Like, they're going to vote for the party that they're going to vote for. And the only thing that makes a difference that pushes you over the line to win is getting people to show up. And we are, like, at a stalemate over, like, fucking both of these idiots not really doing anything to turn out their base, or turn out, not their base, but the fringe part of their base that's, like, the extra people that will vote. Like, I just can't imagine anyone who doesn't care that much about politics giving half a shit fuck about either of them. On top of the fact that, like, sports is good right now. Like, sports are good right now. The World Series is actually interesting. Like, you got the two big teams that everyone actually, like, if it's not your team, at least people kind of care about talking about, are in the World Series. It's like the super Jesus Japanese baseball player man, like, just got injured. Like, that's exciting. Fucking football is fucking football. It's a juggernaut no matter what. It doesn't really matter what's going on. It's interesting. There's, like, so much going on. Basketball's about to start. People do not care about politics enough to be fucked. And neither of these two are doing anything to make you feel like you give a shit, because, as we talked about with Kamala, like, she's not saying she's going to actually do anything. And Trump, I think that people are smart enough to be like, there's the hardcores that you see on The Good Liars, and they say the dumbest bullshit in the world. But the average person, I think the problem with Trump is, like, he burned so many people that, like, the random I may or may not vote person, they might say, I support Trump. Yeah, he's good or whatever. But they're also like, people are smart enough to be like, he didn't actually do much to help me. Like, on the edges, maybe his policies are good for me as, like, a middle class dealership, whatever. I own a fucking boat dealership kind of guy. But, like, really at the end of the day, he didn't make that big of a difference to help me out. And I really don't believe he's going to kill every homeless person that lives in my town. Like, he says he is, but I don't think he's got the, he's not going to pull it off as much as I wish that he would. So those people are just going to stay home. They're just not going to vote. Like, to me, this is like, it's the craziest fucking election, because it's not like the most important election of our lives or whatever and this and that. But it's the craziest election because it's just like, it is a fucking toss-up. I really cannot predict who's going to win, because it's really just going to come down to, like, the random whims of stuff like, how cold is it out that day? Like, did I miss the bus? Was the coffee machine was broken this morning? Like, that's the shit that's going to end up causing people to just not vote, and then that's going to decide who wins. The thing is not going to be what anybody says or anything that happens. It's going to be like, oh, my daughter forgot to clean out the kitty litter box, and so I didn't vote.
100 years from now, people in the history books will be teaching this to kids in school. The flooded schools during the water wars. But the 2024 election, they called it the butterfly effect election that year. Yeah. I mean, I take your point totally, but I think, like, the last, I don't know, so many elections have been kind of like that. They, like, it's the sign that, like, it's one of the many, many, many signs that we don't actually live in anything like a real democracy, is that every fucking presidential election is within, like, a fucking half a percentage point, basically. Yeah. There are some things, though, that are like the fact that Kamala's, like, and whatever, it's polling, like, it's not the most reliable shit. But I did just, like, right before we started recording, I just saw this thing that was like, Biden in 2020 had 63% of the Latinx, or as they say here, Hispanic vote.
Yeah. Hispanolo.
Harris's is 56%. I guess not a huge difference, but it's lower. But then with black voters, it was also a big disparity. And it's like Biden had 92% of black voters in 2020. Harris right now is 78%. She's a black lady.
Sure.
Like, that seems crazy to me.
Sure, but that's why I was gonna say, are we talking about black like Harris, like Kamala Harris, how she's black, or do we mean black like, obviously, like the dark gothic MAGA? Black. No, like the dark gothic MAGA, like Elon Musk supports, because he's pulling that vote over for Trump. All of the dark gothic people, the black-hearted people, they're voting for Trump.
Sure. I'm sure that's what they're referring to in this Eyewitness News ABC 7 local New York video that I'm looking at here. But anyway, I don't know who, and also I don't care.
No.
Ultimately, it's still it's entertainment. That's all this shit is. And speaking of entertainment, I think, I guess I was joking, but part of me wants to almost stand by it seriously, that Trump's McDonald's stunt is the turning point that we're going to look back on when he wins. Be
plant
like, that's what
flag.
Sealed the deal.
Just do it. Just plant your flag. Whatever. That's it. Don't waver. If he wins, just say that's why.
what was way funnier than watching Trump like kind of putter around a McDonald's kitchen, which like, I mean, again, I don't like Donald Trump, but he came across as like kind of like a sympathetic
like a
grandpa or whatever.
Like a human being?
Yeah. And like, but the thing that was even funnier to me was like, you know, the outrage machine, the lib outrage machine about it, like people literally critiquing his like how he shouldn't even be handling the fryer-lator. That goes against regulations. And like and like
shout out to sister cousin nephew podcast, was it Boomer Death Squad, right? Talking about the Matt saying that Trump got like a special pass because on his first day working at McDonald's they didn't let him touch the fryer. It might have been Danny, I don't remember if it was one of the two of them, and then someone in the Discord over there pointing out like actually they let me use the fryer on the first day, so whatever member of Boomer Death Squad that is, it's just they could smell that you couldn't be trusted.
Yeah, that was shout out longtime loyal Heat Death of the Universe listener, Britain.
Yes.
Britsman. He's like, what are you talking about? I handled that fryer-lator that first day.
Yeah.
It became fryer-lator gate on our two Discords.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? What I was saying, I was taking as a negative I keep wanting to say Matt, but I actually think it was Danny, and it fits his style better, that like, oh, you're special needs, that's why they didn't trust you. But I think actually it's that Britain is such an overachiever that on the first day they were like, oh, we can trust you with the fryer-later. So that's I probably shouldn't slander the BDS boys.
I think that the lib critique was even beyond the little school marm, like teacher, you forgot to give us homework kind of thing. Like,
sure.
And it was like, look at how he poured the fries into the little.
Oh, that was a good one.
container.
I like that one. Yeah. I liked, I heard.
He's doing it all wrong.
Yeah, I heard, look, he couldn't even lower the basket himself. He needed help because it's actually not that easy to do. I heard someone say that. So, okay, cool. Well, sure.
Okay, the funniest thing, though, of all of this, I don't know if you saw this, but there were people genuinely outraged and shocked that this was staged.
No. You're fucking kidding me. That wasn't real? This wasn't Trump actually got a job at McDonald's?
You should click on that. You should click on that link below the Trump McDonald's thing. It's at some Reddit subreddit called The Mueller, as in the Mueller report.
No, thank you.
And it made me laugh out loud when I saw this. I had to click on it because I was like, are they being facetious? You look at the comments and they're not. They're like, look, and so there's like a picture.
Oh no,
of like
they filmed it.
It's like a wide view of the drive-through area, and it obviously is just like, you know, there's cameras set up, and there's just one car, and then the next page is a little like notice that McDonald's posted saying like, the president's going to be here on this day until this time, so we're going to be like closed to like regular customers or whatever. But like the Reddit post headline was, "It was all capital letters staged."
Can you believe
Trump did not work. McDonald's closed for the day, and there was a car rehearsal.
It's insane. I can't. What is even fucking there? Nothing is sacred. No, he pretended to work at that McDonald's, and there was cameras there taking pictures. I mean, I know that I was watching the videos and the pictures, obviously online, but I can't. I'm shocked that there was cameras there taking pictures. What the fuck? Like, these people are so goddamn cooked. What the fuck do they think anything is?
It's like they thought that, I don't even think they were even really trying to give the impression in the video that they're like, oh, this is just a normal, like, functional workday at a McDonald's.
Right.
It was like, no, Trump is getting, like, a VIP tour of a McDonald's kitchen and, like, seeing how his favorite food gets made. It was, like, basically what it was. But, like, oh, man, the comments of this fucking Mueller thing. Yep, just like everything else Baron von Schitzenpants does. This is just like, this is an entire subreddit full of Jeff Tiedrichs. Tiedrichs eye.
Yeah, that is fucking insane.
Yeah, it's so fun. And beyond that, I lost the link. I was like, who cares? But like someone could come back at me on this and be like, oh, well, this is just like dumb people on Reddit. Okay, CNN or no, whatever it was, Newsweek did a fucking article that was like, did the Trump campaign stage the McDonald's stunt? Was it all a stunt? And they were like genuinely asking the question and then doing the hard investigative journalism of finding out that, yes, indeed, this was not just a normal day at McDonald's.
See, I wanted to go with you that he was going to win based on this McDonald's thing, but like this is really turning into, this is the real October surprise. Trump did it to himself. Has anybody ever done an October surprise to themselves? I guess Watergate. But you know, this is basically about as like important as Watergate really was at the end of the day. This is fucking amazing, dude. Like, seriously. Like, this is why we're fucked. This is why America as a country is fucked. And it's by the internet. The internet has fucked us. There's too many, like, again, as you talked about, teacher, you forgot the homework ass motherfuckers. There's too many but actually motherfuckers. There's just too many people who are on the internet who their entire personality has become the annoying part of the fucking, you know, you've like taken the most annoying part of your personality and turned that into all you are. And that's everything that you do. And you can't just look at something normally and you fucking ruin it for everyone in the most like infuriating way to where it's like, it's almost not even funny anymore that Donald fucking Trump worked at a McDonald's for a day because he's running for president. Think about that sentence. Think about everything that means and go back in time and explain it to someone in the 80s. Be like, hey, real quick, you know Donald Trump? Yeah. So he's going to work at McDonald's one day because he's trying to become president. And the person's going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And you're going to say, he's trying to become president again.
Yeah. We live in surreally fucked up times for sure. But like the more I keep thinking about as far as like stunts go, the McDonald's thing is like weirdly comparatively brilliant, like right. Compared, because like I have these other like little like quick hit news items here, like AOC and Tim Walz are gonna stream themselves playing Madden together. They're fucking playing video games together, and like this is their pathetic last minute reach at like getting men on board.
Well, and here's the thing: you're already asking for trouble there, because instantly, the first place that you say, oh, they're gonna play Madden together. They should be playing Madam because they're both ladies. Boom, roasted. Fuck that. Out of here. Get it out of here.
Yeah. Tim Walz.
Yeah.
Well, the McDonald's thing, what it is it's like, you know, the grand old tradition of the Iowa State Fair where every fucking candidate has to go there and like eat some deep fried meat product in front of everyone and pretend that they love it and whatever.
Sleep with their cousin. Everyone has to go on down to the Iowa Fair. Yeah.
Joe Biden gets to say the most based thing he's ever said in his life, which is there are at least 3 genders. Right. That kind of shit happens there. This was like Trump doing like a one-man Iowa State Fair, but like on his own. Like, I don't need to be forced to go like shake hands with the unwashed masses. And plus, I genuinely love McDonald's. Yeah. Like you could feel that vibe there. He like seemed humanly sort of interested in like, wow, so this is how they make the shit that I eat all the time, or I used to before I got put on Ozempic or whatever.
You could you could get the vibe. Oh God, I wish I could remember. Ah, man. Anyways, it'd be a funnier joke if I could remember the reference, but we'll just continue on with this. You got the vibe from Trump there that he was excited to be at McDonald's because he thought that there was a good chance that he was going to get to meet Mayor McCheese. Like, that's how much of a real ass motherfucker he is.
Where's Grimace? I want to hug Grimace.
No. Everyone knows Trump has a long-time feud with Grimace. Grimace said something very nasty about him. Maybe they could bury the hatchet. Yeah.
He wants to hug it out.
Yeah.
So then, so compare that PR shit to so before the Walz AOC Twitch stream thing, which I think is happening like right now as we speak. But anyway, before that, the Harris campaign put out an ad that, to paraphrase here, attempts to shame black men into voting for her lest they not get laid. And did you see this ad?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, maybe I did. It sounds familiar, but it also sounds not.
I can describe it. You don't
Sure,
even really need to see it, but like it's this like very like suave, cool black dude comes up to this group of ladies who all appear to be black. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But no, it does matter because this is clearly they're going for a demographic here, and there are.
You can just
I don't
say
know
that
what
they're
they're.
black. Like it's fine. Just...
Well, the picture I'm looking at is really small. I can't really see very clearly.
That's fair. That's fair.
The physiognomy or whatever of each person.
Sure. You can't measure their skulls. You can't do the.
Yeah. But they're all holding red balloons. And I don't know if this is already like something that I'm just not aware of that already exists on the internet where like it's like a dating, like basically like they ask this guy questions about himself and like the whole idea is like, would they want to date him? Right. So they're like, what do you do for a living? He's like, I make 6 figures, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, how tall are you? He's like, I'm fucking tall as hell. Look at me. I'm good looking, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, so far, so good, right, ladies? He's like, your dream man. And then they're like, who are you voting for? Or I forget whatever they say. They're like, are you even going to vote at all? And he said, no, I'm not really into that. And they all like simultaneously pop these balloons, which I suppose is the signal that you're out. We don't like you anymore. End of ad. that was the whole thing.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's it. It's a deal breaker.
It's just
he said I'm just not gonna vote. That was what he said.
I think so. I don't think it was specifically I'm not going to vote for Kamala Harris. He's just like, did you vote or will you vote?
I mean,
that's like, no, I'm not really into that.
That's still sexist because if he wasn't sexist, he would be going out of his way to vote for Kamala. So basically, he's a sexist bro, and we need to get him out of here for sure. So
it's this and like other things that almost make me feel like, and like the town hall, which you just went on about, almost feels like self-sabotage. Like what they should be leaning into, even though it would be like kind of equally as disingenuous, but it would be more effective as a strategy, is just talk about Roe v. Wade and nothing else.
Right.
Like, shut up about the border wall.
Right.
Shut up about everything else. Shut up about Trump being a Nazi and Trump having small hands or whatever. Just be like, look, you like abortions, right? Most people do. Like 85% of America agrees. And then that other 15%, like probably 10 of those like secretly agree and just like
Right.
can't really
They
bring
do
themselves to like say it.
Right.
But they don't talk about, like, they do talk about a little bit, but like barely. At that town hall that should have been like, I don't know, all they talked about, but
Right.
whatever. Like, I even think Trump, talking about Arnold Palmer's dick was like a more was a more human savvy voter outreach method than the stupid ad about like, yo, black dudes, you want pussy? Vote for Kamala. Or hey, AOC and Tim Walz are playing video games together. You like that, guys?
Yeah, you fucking love that shit, don't you?
But I think that maybe that's it for horse race, unless I'm missing something here. If you have anything out you want to add?
No, not on this. I don't fucking.
We got to mention this. You actually brought this up in the Discord. The Michigan, this.
Oh yes, the Muslim. Yeah.
This perfectly explains what I'm like, kind of trying to get at here about like how pathetic these campaigns are. Is that in Michigan, like you have the uncommitted movement, which I know has like basically sold out and officially endorsed Kamala, right? Is that right?
Right. Yeah.
But as far as I know, they're not like going to rallies and they're definitely not saying shit like this. They're not saying Kamala's gonna end the genocide. That's not happening.
Right.
But so this group of Muslims in Michigan went on stage at a Trump rally and like literally said he promises peace, not war, and like went on and on about how Donald Trump's the man to like get us out of wars. And just the contrast between that and Kamala being like, I mean, obviously it's a lot of bullshit. I mean, Trump talks about like how people protesting Israel should be like deported or whatever.
Right. I mean, at least.
Yeah. I just thought that was in contrast, but what did you think about it?
No, I was going to say the clip of the Michigan Muslims endorsing Donald Trump when they come up on stage was almost worth playing, but like it goes for so long, it's like it would be something that you'd need to like clip to like get or like have gone through and like planned it out to just play the important part because it's like 3 minutes long.
I could insert some stuff in there.
Yeah, just insert like the beginning part of it. But the thing that popped up that I thought that was important, you talked about this is horse race. You talked about the Tim Walz and AOC playing Madden together. Which, if it wasn't for the fucking game choice, you could almost forgive this. And I thought about it when you mentioned it, but it didn't cross my mind completely until I saw a quote tweet right now that I will just quote it on here, from Twitter. That's someone who is like calling this out. It's a big content guy on Twitter, and then, it's a decent sized following. They say, streaming live during the middle of witching hour on NFL Sunday shows how little they know about the target audience they're trying to appeal to. Because when you said they were doing it right now or whatever on Sunday, I was like, it's fucking football Sunday. Why are they
think of that,
trying? And it crossed my mind. And it's like I said, you could almost be like, oh, but they're trying to speak to a different demographic, but they were playing Madden football. So they're trying to capture football fans, and they decided to do the fucking stream in the middle of Sunday when all of the fucking games are going on. It's just, Jesus Christ, these campaigns can't help but trip over their own dick, man.
Yeah, it's shit like that makes me think that it's almost on purpose. I mean, it could be both things, right? It could be just total incompetence, but it's like incompetent to the point where it's like so on the nose that it seems like, I don't know, it gets the little conspiracy wheels turning in my head a little bit of just like, yeah, they don't want to win this shit. Like, the Democrats are sick of having to like take the blame for all of this shit. They could sit on the sidelines and fundraise the shit out of, fear mongering about Trump. Like, I feel like honestly, most of them would rather do that than have to like keep pretending that they're against genocide while funding one, and so on.
I want to share this video because there's some kind of rally going on right now. That was where the dark Gothic MAGA thing came up. Because actually, I think that Elon said it the last time he was on stage with Trump, but he said it again tonight at this rally. But they've got the Kill Tony guy, the Tony Hinchcliffe guy, going up doing a fucking bit in front of a Trump rally in New York. And they're in New York, right? And like, I was like, should I just play this fucking clip?
There's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay.
God, he's
all right.
not fucking funny.
We're getting there. Again, normally I don't follow the national anthem, everybody. This isn't exactly a perfect comedy setup.
So, you heard the the joke there. And like you said, he's not funny, obviously. But here's the thing. This is a rally in New York for a presidential candidate. Do you think in New York is the place for the Puerto Rico is a floating island of garbage? Do you think that's a good place to do that joke when you're trying to get voters to support your candidate? You know what I mean? Like, this is why the instincts of like fucking, because Elon Musk is like putting this whole thing on just don't work because he thinks, oh, my New York comedy buddies, we're all so funny and we joke around and we make bad jokes. This is not the place for that kind of fucking joke.
Yeah,
how many people in that crowd do you think are Puerto Rican? You're trying to attract them to vote for your candidate, and you're calling their island a floating pile of garbage.
Also, like, has Puerto Rico been in the news or something late? Like,
he's just calling Puerto Rico trash. Like,
no, I know, but like
I know. Yeah.
it seems so like it's like he did like a fucking Mad Libs thing to write his fucking set for that night because like number one, I fucking hate that guy. Like, forget about politics altogether. He's annoying and he's not nearly as funny as he thinks he is. Like, people are talking about this guy like he's going to be the next big thing, whatever. He played Madison Square Garden. It's
well,
like,
he already is. He already is the big thing but it's not because of him. It's because of his show. That's just him making fun of people doing bad open mic sets,
making fun of mentally handicapped people.
Yeah, which I mean, shout out to fucking friend of me, and I've referenced her before, but Megan Keister. She brought back her advice open mic. It's actually happening for the first time in like 9 years or 7 years or something tonight. But she was doing the same fucking thing, but like not as like shitty as him, not as like racist and offensive as him, like fucking 10, 12 years ago. Just do an open mic and she gives advice to the open micers and, makes it funny, but it's the same concept. He didn't reinvent the fucking wheel. You know what I mean? But that's what he's famous for. And he already is the next big thing. He's not gonna be the next big thing because he's probably one of the most popular comedians in America off of, doing something that doesn't really involve him actually being funny. But as you said, it's like Mad Libs and he's just slapping things together and he's intentionally just trying to be as offensive as possible. That's why, again, like you said, does it make any sense? No, not really. And the reason why it doesn't make any sense to you is because you're just thinking like wider context. He's thinking locally and went out of his way to be offensive to the crowd, right? Because that's what he does. He's an offensive comic. Okay.
Right.
What island are most of the people in here going to be from? Puerto Rico, because it's New York. There's a high percentage of Puerto Rican nationality in New York. A lot of people there are connected to are Puerto Rican or at least know Puerto Rican people. So on top of it, everything with that, like going into the Trump thing or just running for president, Puerto Rico is part of America. Just say Cuba, man. Say Cuba. Yeah. Say a different country. Why are you saying Puerto Rico? It's part of fucking America.
Yeah, and like even saying Cuba would just be. I guess if you're trying to be offensive, and I just like everything about that little bit of what he just said is like so. It gets dumber and dumber the more I think about it, and less and less even potentially funny.
Right, which is why I had to play it. It's so fucking stupid. That's why I was like, I did all that extra work to be able to play this right now.
He would have been better off just saying, there's a patch of garbage in the ocean, folks. It's called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Don't we love trash in our oceans, folks? Like,
yeah, right.
I'm so offensive. Fuck the earth. Fuck nature.
Like, right. Or you just be like, it's Kamala Harris. Everyone, she was just taking a bath. Like, what, like anything else.
It's one of Tim Waltz's giant shits that floated out into the Pacific. Just like you might as well just go full.
Yeah, go full like sixth grader. Yeah.
Yeah, sixth grader. That's the better word for it. I was trying to avoid the Tropic Thunder.
Sure. Yeah.
But
you were gonna say the N-word? Jesus, all right.
So yeah.
Horse race, folks.
It seems, I'll say seems, because I didn't do like an in-depth dive here, but like just looking at the the kind of headlines of the moment of the day, it feels like Trump is like doing better with Muslims than Kamala at this point, which is again topsy-turvy. Well, she's gonna build the wall better, and he's promising peace in the Middle East, even though whatever.
But I mean, to be fair, like that is to be expected. I know that this is me getting on my NOI shit. This is my Hotep corner. This is diaspora wars, but she's Jamaican. I hate to say this, but when it comes down to it, like, there is no reason to expect that Muslims are going to side with Kamala because she's black, because she's Jamaican. And there is not a history of Jamaicans being Muslim. There isn't really a connection there, like, to, like, African or, Middle Eastern black people is where, like, the Muslim connection comes in. So, you know what I mean?
Well,
like, Northern Africa into the Middle East. But yeah, anyways.
I mean, I meant it more as, like, just because she's the Democrat.
Sure. Right. Right.
And
but I'm just saying.
and Trump's the guy who did on day one, the Muslim ban and all that. But now he's seemingly doing better with that demographic than the Democrats.
At this point, there's no reason to intrinsically assume that either party is going to have better polling with Muslims because they both just murder them and they both are committed to just murdering them. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, when it comes down to it, like I said, she's not going to have the lead up on Muslims, like, culturally. So, otherwise, what's it going to be?
Right. So you went to some event. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. I think I had said we'll get there. Maybe we won't. But we're here. We're here now.
We made it.
I went to a pamphlet/book release event for Ben Burgess's new pamphlet thing. It was called 4 Essays on Israel. I still need to read everything. I think it's primarily all previous released essays that were maybe on Jacobin or in different places, but they were printed out in physical pamphlets. And they did he read an excerpt and kind of talked about it, and he had a panel, one of which was the co-host of This Is Revolution that's on everything all the time. If people know anything about that, I think his name is Jason Miles. And then the other one was Anna Kasparian, which a lot of times I think I've thought that her name was Anna Gasparian. Maybe I'm thinking of Anna Gasteyer or something. Anyways, mixing it up. But the idea that what we really needed politically was a second Armenian Anna Kay who did a rightward turn, I don't think was not something that we needed as a culture. People weren't begging for it. The one wasn't enough. So yeah, I realized that. And was like, But it coincided with this very interesting kind of thing that happened because I didn't know this because I don't watch the Young Turks because I'm, I guess, not a boomer and not an idiot or a shit lib. So I've never watched the Young Turks, which I thought about as I was there at the event and I was watching her talk and do her thing. I was like, I know her voice, have seen her face. I'm unfortunately way too familiar with Anna Kasparian.
It was once an extremely popular show. It's still
that's
pretty
fine.
Popular, but less so.
Yeah, that's fine. But my point just being is I am intimately familiar with the physiognomy of Anna Kasparian, having never watched her show, and I was just that is kind of intriguing in a way, especially because the way that they talked about her as if she was this mainstream celebrity, and I was I guess to us, but she's really not. She's not on MSNBC or anything. She's on YouTube.
She was supposedly offered though.
Sure.
Well, her co-host Cenk Uygur, he was actually on MSNBC for a little while, hosting his own show.
Gotta
just
say
throw
the name,
that out there.
Gotta say the name properly. It's Dank Uygur.
Okay.
Dank Uygur. Everyone knows that's how you say it. Anyways, he's Uncle Jank. But so
Hassan's uncle.
Yeah, Nepo nephew. That's one thing, all of these fucking Chapo dirtbag leftists, they love to make jokes about Uncle Magic, but as soon as they found out that fucking Hassan was doing Uncle Magic to buy $1 million house, they were all, oh, he's not communist enough. Yeah, I mean, come on. Anyways. But yeah, so I had that cross my mind during the whole thing, but this coincided with, and I didn't know this, as I said, because I don't watch fucking Young Turks, that earlier in that day, the same day, Anna had this insane meltdown on TYT about an insane, I'm using the terms that fucking, the Vanguard used to talk about it because they just had to sensationalize the whole thing. She had a bit of a meltdown against a Twitter user who called her out for not condemning Ben Shapiro enough in a segment about Ben Shapiro, which I watched the segment, thought it was good. I thought it was pretty unfair of the Vanguard because I imbibed her meltdown within the parameters of the Vanguard talking about it, and that's the video that I sent you. I also watched the meltdown separately, and I watched the Ben Shapiro piece that she was specifically referencing separately, and was yeah, that's unfair. They tried to, on their bit, like tried to like put it in the context of like a debate that she had with Ben Shapiro previously, and how apologetic or how, you know, deferential she was towards him. And that was proof that she wasn't hard enough on him. And I'm like, in this context, they're talking about the piece that had aired previously. They weren't talking about the debate that she had years ago, but they like collapsed that all into one thing for their take on it. Right. And it was like in the piece, she was very fucking like very like stern and attacked directly and condemned, and Jank did his whole thing, which is always interesting. I'm just like, Jesus, like, again, I'm just like, how do people still watch this? Because he's been doing the same fucking thing for like 20 years. Like, he just does the exact same, and it's good, and he like hits it pretty well, but it's just like, how do you keep watching it? It's like wrestling, man. I can't watch the same person do the same match for 20 fucking years. I just get bored. But there's people who just like, they continue to enjoy it. But the reason why I wanted to talk about it is because the way that they were talking about her on the, you know, on the stream, on the live, whatever, like talking about the way that like how, you know, unhinged, unwell mentally, she seemed like she needed help, this and that, like she's just been psychologically frayed, all of this stuff. And then I saw her later that night and she seemed relatively normal. There was like absolutely nothing, you know what I mean? She didn't seem out of sorts. She was, you know, she's in, you know, friendly company or whatever, but like really good because it was primarily talking about Israel. She was definitely had like some interesting and unique stuff to talk about that I enjoyed, talking about her family's history being Armenians who were like, you know, they had to leave during the genocide and were refugees taken in like positively and warmly by Palestinians, you know, before there was an Israel basically into Palestine and all of that. And it was like it was an interesting way to hear like someone have that take, like talking about their history and seeing something like that where someone was a refugee from a genocide and were so warmly received by the Palestinians, you know, that like that kind of colors her opinion of them as people, as like, you know, the Zionists tried to condemn the Palestinians as like being evil and all this, and she has this like direct lineage to them being so positive in a similar situation. So all of that was pretty cool, but yeah, like just in the context of like, oh, she's out of control, she's losing her mind, she's making this rightward pivot and all this and that, and it's like, I'm sorry, but I don't know, like Ben Burgess, like, do you think Ben Burgess is like the kind of guy that you go hang out with and do talks about his book about Israel? Like if you're making a rightward pivot, like I don't really know. Like Ben is pretty staunchly left and like really hard in it. Like I just don't see, I get where they're coming from or whatever, but I just really don't think that there's like this clear, obvious rightward pivot that Anna Kasparian is making.
I don't really either. And like kind of beyond that, I like you, I don't give a shit about the Young Turks. And I mean, let's see. I think I would have called myself a fan of that show in 2012, and
wow,
fizzled out pretty quickly because there wasn't much else. there was kind of the only game in town. If you liked sort of Bernie style, whatever. But yeah,
I was gonna say like my biggest exposure to TYT, it was also like my biggest exposure to the Jimmy Dore show, David Pakman show, was listening to the Best of the Left podcast.
David Pakman is the fucking worst.
Yeah. But like in the 2010s, just like you, like listening to the Best of the Left podcast, which I think the guy still makes it. And I would just like listen to that and it would have clips from those shows and it would be like, you know, whatever, real quick hitters to hear it. But I definitely did not go out of my way to listen to any of that stuff or consider myself a fan of any of it. And that was like pre Anna even being on TYT.
Right. I was going to say maybe just for slight context after the fact, but the show we're referencing here, The Vanguard, it's these two guys in like their early 20s who have a podcast video, YouTube type podcast that's I'm gonna say it, way more successful than it has any right to be. I started watching them, I think, when they kind of first started out, probably back when like during like, you know, the positive momentum days of Bernie running early on in 2020, and I think they got big because they got like Noam Chomsky on as a guest or something, and they just started getting all these bigger guests. But mostly what they are now is like a gossip rag for YouTube left media.
Right.
So like I've made this joke several times, at least online in print, but like in print, in text. Yeah. all of their videos are something to the extent of like, and they do, of course, the classic YouTube thing where you got to have all caps, like certain words. It's like Kyle Kulinski destroys Jimmy Dore and eviscerates Bill Maher, while Brianna Joy Gray and Crystal Ball slay Jank Young Turk. You know, it's like every fucking, that's all they do is gossip about the shit. They never are really talking about sort of issues or whatever. And it's just like, can you believe what Jimmy Dore said about this? And who said this about that? And oh my God, Anna Kasparian's having a breakdown. And they spent an hour talking about her supposed breakdown, which was just her like, she was like shrieking and yelling about something that pissed her off.
Wow. If you believe that, then maybe, you're sexist. If you think that a woman can't, because like I said, Jank does that shit and has been doing that shit for fucking 20 years. He does the same thing. Of course. And he yells and he gets boisterous and all, but they don't say Jank is having a breakdown and being fucking a shrill. You know what I mean? She's a woman, so she's out of control and she's having mental health problems, I don't love doing this, but it's just the truth. And I do have to point it out every now and then because I am a proud feminist. I don't care if people on Twitter have decided that means that I'm a pedophile when I say I'm a feminist. I don't know what that is about, but oh God, this is another, I've gotten this a couple times recently on Twitter when like people have talked about feminist stuff, and I'm like, what? I had one person just compare me to a feminist. They said, you don't want to take fucking responsibility like a fucking feminist. And I was like, I am a feminist. And then it turns into, oh yeah, that must mean that you're you touch women or whatever, or you touch children or whatever. Anyways, but yeah,
that's an interesting leap.
Yeah, I know. I completely agree. But yeah, like, the idea that Anna is she's losing her mind, she's out of control, it's TV, it's entertainment. As I say, it's TV. It's YouTube, folks. Jank has been doing the same fucking thing for years, and they don't say the same shit about him.
Yeah, because they whatever, they need material, and since they don't make any real, like,
substantive
socialist analysis of what's going on in the world, if they ever did, all they do is talk about this, like, fucking, just inter-YouTube drama.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm almost feeling gross that like we're sort of like adding another layer to it in a way, but it's like those guys annoy me, and I've never said it on the podcast before, so this is my chance, I guess.
Yeah, fuck them. They suck. I agree with you, but yeah, like adding the layer onto it, I think, as you talked about, like they don't have anything to add of substance, and I think that they found a pretty good lolcow though, because unfortunately, like what set her off was a message from one of their listeners. Like they referenced that in the video that like the person who made the comment, who did the payment, was a Vanguard listener, subscriber, whatever, that they held in solid stand. But you could tell there was like an air of separation that they had about like, it's just some random Twitter user. Oh, I mean, to her, it's just some random Twitter user, but to us, it's our friend.
One of our loyal Patreon soldiers.
We love him, and he's great, but he's just a random Twitter user with no followers, and probably has a small dick. But she's losing her mind about it. But again, like we love him and think he's great because he gives us money. But the fact that like she bought into it and reacted, and they're just going to continue to mess with it. And that is probably why I turn it into sexism, which I do think that there is a bit of that with the language that they use. But it's the other part of it too, is that Jank is not going to engage. Jank has been at this for a long time. He doesn't get into flame wars with, Twitter users. He's not gonna, it doesn't bother him as much in that regard. But, he goes off on the other stuff. But he did go off, like, pretty good on the Twitter user in general. But he was kind of going more writ large. And again, they joked on it a little bit, but they didn't say, oh, he seems like he's losing his mind and needs psychological help. You know what I mean? They were, like, pretty close to saying Anna is hysterical, which is, like, again, I saw her later that evening, and she seemed right as rain as far as I could tell. She had, her mental faculties were completely fine. She wasn't like she's losing her mind.
She's fine. She's rich. And
speaking of fine, in person, that is a good looking lady. I'm not gonna, she is. Yeah. Anyways,
I mean, if you want to go after her for anything, the one thing I just remembered suddenly was that she did an interview with what's her old dead lady ass name, Madeleine Albright. She did an interview with Madeleine Albright and like completely just like let her many war crimes just go unchecked. Like Madeleine Albright's famous thing of like, it was worth it to kill 500,000 Iraqi children with starvation sanctions. It was totally worth it. And Anna Kasparian's just like, yes, queen, yes, slay queen, yes. So all of these people that we're discussing, except for Ben Burgess, who I think is pretty all right,
He's pretty sick.
Are full of shit. And also for after the fact context, Ben Burgess is like the philosophy nerd, leftist YouTuber guy who, one thing I find funny about his show, which I watch every now and then, not too much, but is he has like 4 or 5 or 6 like fellow philosophy bro friends who just like,
yeah, it's pretty beast,
all doing Zoom together, but it's just Ben Burgess talking and them going like, yeah, preach, brother. Yeah. Like nobody has anything else to say.
I mean, there's one guy who talks a lot, but yeah.
Okay, maybe. I always got that sense. I'm like, these guys are just sitting around on Zoom, like listening to their friend talk about philosophy and about, analyzing debates between whoever, but whatever.
Right. Yeah, his show is incredibly beast because like he's got one guy who seems to do a lot of the like just delivering stuff, like reading things and talking about stuff and like setting the page, and then Ben just like comes in with all the good poignant stuff, like talking points. So I definitely get where you're coming from, where it comes across like Ben is the only one who talks because he's the only one who really seems to like, I guess, deliver like substance, like his own personal substance. But yeah,
he can like monologue. Yeah,
he's a really good speaker. He is really good at like, I think, conveying like points and arguments that are like compelling to maybe someone who's not necessarily as sympathetic to our side. You know what I mean? And and part of that is because of like being a philosophy guy and not being a trained philosophy, professor, and delivering things in a way that like speaks to like people's inherent nature and not necessarily like, oh, well, obviously we've all read Marx, so we understand, like we have the basic like points and we all agree. Like, no, he's like speaking to like the normie.
Probably the most, I agree with that. He can like break down complex stuff pretty well. But the best thing, and probably like the most like sustained, like longest thing I ever watched with him was his debate with Curtis Yarvin, patron saint of Red Scare. Curtis Yarvin, Mencius Moldbug. Did you ever see that?
No, I did not.
You should check it out.
Yeah,
it's long, but he gives Yarvin the rope to hang himself with.
Sure,
and
Yarvin's a very stupid man. Like,
he's so fucking dumb, but he's so smug and acting like he acts like he's like, why am I even on the stage with this like this fucking insect of a leftist, But like,
and that was, obviously he knew he was Jewish when he was calling him an insect.
But yeah, I recommend that if to anybody, I guess. Anyone who hates Curtis Yarvin. If you know who Curtis Yarvin is and you're listening to this podcast, you should probably hate him. Long story short about that whole segment, fuck Curtis Yarvin. Yep. And that's the final answer. Vanguard.
Like, Curtis Yarvin is like the brains of the like Thiel verse, right? Like that just tells you what you need to understand about fucking the whole, Peter Thiel influence bubble, is that their brain man, their argument man is fucking Curtis Yarvin, who's a fucking just a mental midget.
Yeah, he's I almost sort of get the impression he's like their resident philosopher king, but like I don't know how much it's really influencing what Peter Thiel does. But
sure.
No, he is definitely like solidly in that world. I think we can save whatever else is on this list for another day. Want
to talk about Eve? Want to talk about our good friend? Or
there's not much to.
Right, exactly. That's why it's just a quick hitter. It's light. It's easy. Close it out.
The other thing is that okay, so Eve Fartlow's back, everybody. She never went away, I guess.
No.
And this tweet of hers came out, and it's a picture of like triangle, like kind of building blocks, and there's an inverted upside down, a red one, which is of course the symbol of supporting armed resistance.
Right. And red one is also the
IDF
hit Dwayne Johnson film scheduled to come out shortly. Red one. We're all excited to see that.
But apparently this is possibly just a doctored tweet. I couldn't get to the bottom of it. I'm not going to say I tried really hard to. I mean, I scrolled through her Twitter feed, and what came up was I was at some I forget what it was, some Jewish holiday dinner or something. And I wasn't even using my phone when whoever posted this fake tweet. So whatever, maybe but the fact that everyone who saw this totally believed that she would have posted something like this.
Doesn't it say something about our society that I believe that this is real?
It says something about Eve Barlow.
Yes.
I mean, Fartlow, not the dead name.
Yes, please.
And she... possibly. I mean, some people are saying she tweeted this and actually realized how stupid it was and tried to delete it real quick. But
which is interesting because she never does that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she doesn't. So, which is why I probably believe that someone just, manufactured this. But it says, a friend sent me this. Now Jews can't shop for their kids' birthday presents without dehumanizing anti-Semitic symbols being shoved in our faces. When will this end? Now,
with an interrogation.
Would you say which is the dumber tweet? This possibly fake one, or the very real and very infamous one she did about seeing a free parking sign and her friend thinking it said Free Palestine and getting triggered and her saying, the Jews are tired. We're so tired of all this anti-Semitism.
We're raw nerves, folks. Yeah. No, exactly. It's the same.
That is
it's
equally,
the same
if
idea.
not more stupid.
Because, okay, here's the thing. This toy is real. This toy, and not Israel, like where she belongs. This toy exists, and there is an upside down red triangle in it. The free parking sign that you read in your brain and created that it said Free Palestine is fake. It's not real. It's not a real thing. So that is more far-fetched. And that was an actual tweet that she made where she's like, we looked at a thing and got confused. And that means that like you're trying to kill us is what she said.
I had a persecution complex hallucination.
Yes. So anyways, Free Fartestein, everyone, make sure.
Fartlow, never change. Just keep getting more insane, whatever.
Right. Please.
But on that note, I think we can recommend some stuff real quick. Like I'm gonna recommend what I wrote here was the ocean, because I just took a trip recently and I saw some beautiful ocean area, but then I was like, you know what else is cool? Mountains. So I recommend mountains as well. And I was like, while I'm at it, forests are pretty beast.
Yeah.
So ultimately what I'm saying is go outside, do some literal grass touching. It's good for you. And then I'll also recommend this crazy movie that people probably have heard of, for how crazily bad it was. Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis. I watched,
I talked about it. Oh, we should have done an episode about this. Didn't I tell you about how I thought this is the funniest movie I've seen in like a decade?
I don't think so.
I could have sworn I talked about it. Or
maybe we'll make an episode then.
Yeah,
because
we should definitely do an episode.
Definitely fill a full episode talking about Megalopolis.
I gotta rewatch it though.
No, me too.
This is gonna have to be like a double episode. Anyways, continue.
Well, I recommend it. It's like it's one of those like
it's incredible.
Yeah, it's like. It's hard to say. It's not a so bad it's good. It's
no.
It's like a new category of that needs a new term invented for it in a way. But like basically it's largely critically panned as like being a total mess, which it is. It's like a mess in a lot of ways, but anyway, we'll get in depth with it later. But no, you and I haven't talked about this movie at all.
I thought I either mentioned it or something in passing, said I went to go see it.
I watched a fucking cam version, but it was like a high quality cam version. So
that's probably better than me. I saw it in the theaters, and I think maybe it's better to have watched it on a cam.
Really? I feel like I would.
You say that there needs to be.
I feel like I would want to see it on the big screen.
Well, I mean, The platinum WoW scenes are maybe better on the big screen than on the cam, but otherwise, a shout out to the couple of women that I've already seen who have done WoW Platinum as their Halloween costume. You're the real heroes. You talking about needing a new term to describe this, not the like so bad it's good. There doesn't need to be a new term. There's already a term for this type of movie. It's called a masterpiece.
Sure.
Like I said, I think I 100% believe that this is the funniest movie that I've seen in like a decade. I think it might be the funniest movie I've ever seen. I know that sounds crazy because people love to do hyperbole, but I legitimately thought that like every part of this movie was fucking hilarious. And like, I don't think that it's like, because a lot of people who pan it are like, oh, he's just so old and doesn't know what's going on. I'm like, Coppola has always had an amazing sense of humor. He's always put a lot of really good humor in his movies. And I believe that the jokes that were landing for me were like intentional jokes. The mom, the main character mom is so fucking funny. I don't see how you could put that character in there, especially like Francis Ford Coppola. He's not retarded. You can't make a character like that and not have it meant to be a joke. And it's incredible. Like, it's just, I've never seen anything that funny before.
Yeah, I want to add on, but like, I think it would be fun to maybe.
Yeah, I don't want to like.
I think we could do an episode on this thing. So
yeah, that's why I was like being really surface, because I don't want to like get into the details. But yeah, I'm just like, no, this is so good. But okay, can I move to my general recommendation?
I'm done.
You recommended The Ocean, right?
Yeah.
So I want to recommend, just really quickly piggyback off of that, Say Ocean, the hardcore band from the 2000s. I would recommend people check them out. So yeah, go to The Ocean, listen to Say Ocean. They're a really cool band. They had a lot of good, like, I saw them a ton in like hardcore venues in the 2000s. They're pretty sick as like a crowd killing band. I know that people say, or I guess I should steal from friend of the show, Andrew Wang, and say crowd unaliving band. I responded to him saying that they did crowd unaliving. I said unalive your local, and then I put like a broccoli emoji dealer. Like, I was like, that's a pretty good one. But yeah, anyways, so that was just a real quick off of that. The other one that I do want to recommend, because of you telling me to check out the Yarvin versus Burgess debate, I pulled it up on YouTube, and I want to give a shout out to a very specific kind of t-shirt. I have a couple of them. I think it's pretty sick. T-shirts that are books. T-shirts that are for books. Because there's nothing sicker than a t-shirt that has the cover of a book on it and says the name of the author and the name of a book on it. When you see that kind of shirt, it's just like, hell yeah, brother. I've read that book. I think that's cool. I have like a Kafka book. I think I have like a Great Gatsby one. I have like multiple t-shirts that are a book t-shirt, and it's pretty cool. I'm going to highly recommend t-shirts that are for books. I think that's just a cool thing to have. If you see that anywhere, that is like an automatic buy. If you see one at like a thrift store, it doesn't matter if it's a book you even like. If it's a t-shirt that just has a picture of a book cover on it and the author and the title of the book, or even if it's just the cover of the book, that's fine too. But I think it's best if it has the text. That's an automatic buy. T-shirts that are for books are cool.
I've got two book type t-shirts that were gifted to me because people knew that, you know, I love the book Infinite Jest, and there's
oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, but it doesn't say Infinite Jest on it or anything. It's a reference to something in the book, which is like there's this tennis academy, so it's like an Enfield Tennis Academy T-shirt, and then on the back you can customize what name you want on the back, and then cool. What number.
That's just an actually cool shirt. So unfortunately, that doesn't fall under the category of what I'm talking about.
But if people...
Because I'm talking about the shirt that has the book cover on the front. You know
I got you. I'm just saying. The rare chance that someone would be like, hey, I know what that's all about. I think of the first one I got, I specified that I wanted, there's this whole, only people who've read the book will know what the fuck I'm talking about, I guess. But there's this group of people in the book that are from Quebec. So it's in French, they're the wheelchair assassins. So I had whatever the translation into French for wheelchair assassin was the name I put on the back of my
Nice.
My deep reference book shirt. That's the closest thing I have to a book shirt, I think. I don't think I've ever had any other kind of book shirt, but
yeah. You gotta get, like I said, if you see it, if you're out shopping, you're at the thrift store, you're anywhere really, and you see the shirt that just has the cover of a book on it, buy it. That's an instant buy.
I hope they serve beer in hell. I'm trying to think of like the shittiest book off the top of my head.
Yes, I would love that. Dude, I would love that. That would be so cool, especially because the cover to that is very funny.
Hey, maybe that could be our first book review episode.
Yeah, right.
All right, so go to the episode description to find the link to our Discord. Join the Discord. Come on in, say hi, say some stuff. You can find all the other show links to various places on the internet. Follow us on Twitter. Give us a nice rating or reviewing or subscribing or all three. And Tim, you've got another podcast. What's that all about?
I do. It feels like it doesn't exist because I haven't recorded it in a couple of weeks, but it's over on the Violent People website, Violent People Podcast Network. It'll come out here in like another week or so. My co-host has been sick and can't talk, so I could have done something by myself, but it's not that fun to do a podcast by yourself.
It's hard.
Nobody around here would do that. It's weird. It's crazy. It's difficult. It's just not worth it. So I've done a few of them, but I would never do it by choice. Okay. Especially not, once
Every
a week
week.
for 3 hours or whatever the fuck. Yeah. But yeah, so it'll be out again. But definitely check out violentpeople.co. Go to the Violent People Discord. Pop in there, talk about wrestling, talk about other stuff. People are in there. They're chopping it up about food. They're talking about politics a little bit, maybe. There's some sports talk if you're into regular sports, if you're into combat sports. There's a lot of conversation going on there either way. And obviously join the Heat Death Discord as well, but if you have time for more than one Discord, which for a long time I didn't, but now I do. So either way, that's it. Violent People, Violent People, Violent People.
And you can find the links to all of that stuff in the episode description as well under the heading More from Timothy Robert Buckner. And before I close this out, did you see Eminem going on before Obama at the fucking Kamala rally?
No.
You didn't even hear about it?
No. This sounds good. I think I heard about it, but I didn't see it yet.
Well, it was a sight to behold.
It's pretty epic. Okay, pop it in right here. Boom. People are listening to it.
Yeah, so I guess that's another general recommendation. Look for Eminem giving Obama a big old bear hug as they
Eminem Obama.
It's like he was
finally brought to real.
It's like he was opening up for Obama. But as Barack Hussein Obama always says, bitch get her. Hid in the bush like Margot Kidder. Jumped out. Killed the bitch and did her. Used to let the babysitter suck my dick when I was littler. Smoke a blunt while I'm titty fucking Bette Midler. Good night. Good luck. Good morning, Vietnam.
The first voice recording was made in 1860. It was a 10-second fragment of the French folk song Au clair de la lune recorded by inventor Edward Leon Scott de Martinville. But who will make the final voice recording and when? What will it be? Who will hear it?